Hello everyone, we are back together, and this week will be, I believe it is the third installment. Oh, I just started right in without, I, I, I guess it doesn't really matter. They're not important things. You have already noticed that I am filming from a different location, a secret location. Okay, not really. This is my backyard, and it only looks this beautiful because Chris takes care of it. And you may have noticed that I have a different hairdo. And so with that, let's get down to business. Um, so what I wanted to talk about today is actually the third video about this. And I'm actually really surprised that I have, I guess, enough information to share 3 videos about this, because it felt like at the first video was, all right, we talked about suppressed self, we're done, we're ready to move on. Yet, I have found some more information about suppressed self and more nuances to why I'm feeling this way. And I got this information from a very interesting source. So, just a little bit of backstory, because it's actually really interesting, and I think it tells us, it kind of gives us a little bit of insight to not think that, oh, I've thought about something, therefore I am done with it and I'm ready to move on, but keep an ear open, an eye open for hearing more and learning more about it. And that's where maybe I've been kind of lacking in the past is, oh, I got it kind of figured out, okay, I'm ready to move on. I mean, that would be blast savior and consume demon. I've learned enough and now I'm good to go. That kind of mentality. And actually, it's a little bit of a mixture of sleep in there as well, because I also don't value the importance of thinking on the same thing over and over again, because really, again, it goes back to, oh, I thought about it already and I'm good. But when I'm thinking about this suppressed self, I was watching a video. So I'm in a course right now. Theories of Counseling, I guess, is the title, but it talks about, kind of gets into just a very cursory understanding of the different therapies that are out there. And so when we were looking at psychoanalytical therapy, the way that the book is set up is you read the book and then you watch the author kind of go through the motions they kind of like act it out. During this role-playing piece, the whole idea was to get the client to talk about why they were censoring themselves. And so I know they were acting it out, but I'm sure what they're acting out is like not pulled out of thin air, is probably something that the therapist had actually experienced or experiences, because it's not going to be just one person in the past, and brought it to the table as kind of an example. And it felt like I was getting like free therapy, which I was like, okay, yes, I'll take it. Because as this guy who's role-playing somebody who's censoring himself, I'm learning about myself through this process. One thing he mentioned that I had never thought about was that when he says something and when he puts something out there, then it has the potential to come back to haunt him. And that whole idea is really kind of stemming from the idea of judgment, like feeling judgment by others. So, and that it goes to also the idea that elephants don't forget, where whatever has happened, you will never live it down. And yeah, that's not, I'm looking at it now, I'm trying to remove myself from this mentality and kind of like analyze it from the outside. And when you think about a mentality like that, like elephants don't forget, obviously that's something I'm thinking about, where maybe I'm not forgetting when so-and-so says this, does this, whatever. Does that mean I don't forgive them or whatever? No, that's not true. But always maybe tucked in the back of my mind, like, oh, that person reacted this way. And it's not necessarily for bad things, but it's also like not, it's a database, right? I mean, we've talked about databases in the past where it's collecting a database. So some of it is, I mean, a positive, negative, neutral. It's a neutral kind of judgment where it's like, okay, they responded like this. I'm going to remember elephants don't forget. Apparently I'm an elephant. And so I'm not going to forget that that's how they responded. And so that's how I want to make sure I come about it in the future. But then there is that element of judgment in there too. And that's what I'm afraid of. I am afraid of, sure, okay, fine, there is the piece where it's more neutral, but what about that judgment piece? Because that's what I'm afraid of. That's what I want to avoid. Then the other thing that was brought about, and this was like directly what the actor had said in this role, he portraying somebody who's censoring himself. He was like, I don't know what to say. And so he kind of hesitates because he doesn't know what to say. And when he said it like that, I was kind of filling in some of the blanks there because I'm thinking, yeah, sometimes I don't know what to say. And it's more like I'm waiting, I'm trying to wait it out to figure out, what do you want me to say? What is it that you want me to say? Because I'll give you what you want. It's like, I think it was Burger King had that saying, have it your way. Yes, that's what I'm going to present to you. Whatever way you want it, that's what way I'm going to give it to you. And so there is a little bit of censoring there because it's like hesitation. I'm going to kind of feel it out to see. I want to give it your way, whatever your way is. In the role-playing process, it kind of came out where there was a right way and there was a wrong way. And the right way was the other person's way. So whatever your way is, that's the right way. That's how I want to respond. Because again, it goes back to, I don't want to be judged. I adapt to you. I adopt what you want, and so that is what I give you. You don't like science fiction? Okay, we will never watch science fiction. I get it, you don't like it. But then not realizing that maybe the other person wants, I mean, this is a two-way street. It's not just, I'm going to give you what you want and make you happy, and I'll diminish while you are uplifted. I mean, that's not a relationship. Sometimes you do what the other person wants, and I'm taking that away from the other person, to be honest, because I'm always trying to be the one to relinquish what I want, or sometimes I don't even know what I want, so I look to you, what do you want? And again, it's part suppression, but then also part just, I don't even know myself enough to have a leg to stand on in whatever the arena is. And so it was just really interesting. I mean, that's basically the main idea. Again, it goes back to constantly learning about, and learning by taking in what other people are saying. Okay, that's easy for me. But then also recognizing that I may need to think about it some more, and don't let it go away. Don't take it off my plate forever. Just make my plate bigger that I'm looking at now. My plate is huge, but that's okay because, I have little sections on my plate for different things. And so maybe right now I'm looking more at the potatoes, and oh look, I can really understand the potatoes a lot more because I have built up and understood what the potatoes are. I know what they taste like. I know the texture. And without, just slamming it all in my mouth and not really understanding it all, it's all there, and it's all there for me to analyze. And then I was also thinking about like a painting. And I was doing some painting a little bit ago, and so this analogy really makes sense to me because a lot of times I didn't realize to begin with, but then you also forget like how much goes into creating a final piece. It's not like paint by numbers where I'm going to paint this here and that there and that there and that there. It's a little bit of that, but really when you think about like especially oil painting, it's about layers. And so when I think about this idea about the suppressed self, when I first thought about it, it's like I put my wash of my one color over the canvas. And now, as I am thinking on it more and analyzing it and taking in what other people are saying and thinking about what I'm thinking about it, I'm just adding to the painting. I'm adding more nuances, more color. You put color on top of color and you get something different. And it just builds upon itself until you get a clearer picture, until you get maybe not a complete picture, but it just becomes clearer and clearer and becomes more and more that final piece each time you go back to and paint some more. And I need to remember, because I know I've said this already multiple times in this video, but I tend to be the person that, okay, once I have that wash of color and a few more colors, it's like, I kind of see what it's like. All right, painting done, let's go to another canvas. And that's not, it doesn't produce rich understandings. And that's really what I'm missing in my life, is the rich understandings, the nuances when it comes to myself, when it comes to others even, because a lot of times I paint them a certain way even, and then that becomes them, and then I push that to the side. And I'm not the artist when it comes to understanding the nuances of humans. And I am starting to understand it a little bit more. And I know that complicated is not the same as nuanced, in my opinion, because we're all complicated. Everything is going to be complicated and yet simple at the same time. I mean, yes, blows your mind. But when you really think about nuanced, so many things happening at once. And when you take that snapshot, sometimes you only see the green, sometimes you only see the blue, and you miss the blue-green that happened in between, that is happening right in between this and that. And so you can see that we're made up of a lot of things and a lot of things happen, but those nuances are really where it's at. And actually, I watched recently a video from David Chan, and they were talking about the balance is in looking and recognizing the subtleties. And I think that's the same as the nuances. So that is what we have for this week. Another look into being suppressed, suppressing yourself, censoring yourself, and how really analyzing these different ideas about yourself can be very nuanced. So if you've thought about it already before, whatever particular aspect that you've been focusing on yourself, I encourage you to look at it again. Look at it again now that you have some distance between when you first thought about it and now, because I'm sure life has shown you a little bit more information about it, either coming from your own brain because you have important thoughts too, or coming from other people because maybe you didn't even realize how it was connected. And so that's all we have. I hope that you have a great week, and I will see you again. Bye.